what would you do if you moved to a tiny town and there wasn't much theatre happening? Where would you start? What would you do?
Oh, I I do come from a tiny town, and so I have a lot of yeah, I have a lot of love for that sort of communal space. Um, I think starting in the town center or the town gathering spaces, like you did with the movie theater, is actually exactly it. For my answer to that, I'd start in a it's funny too that like there's also so much overlap between houses of worship and ritual and pageants related to those spaces.
Mhm.
um and I think, yeah, so I would want to start either on the main street space or the town square space and see where there's a storefront that I might be able to uh transform into a space that had some aesthetic.
Mm.
um or I'd want to start in a school and go where the kids are
Mm.
and see what trouble we can make in an after school setting or
Right.
on the weekend with a family setting.
Yeah.
You know, Personally, I love when there's like intergenerational exchange. So some of the things with the Trusty Sidekick shows is we make sure that parents know that this is not an hour of us babysitting. This is an hour of actually engaging with the story with your kid.
Ah,
Um,
that's interesting.
yeah,
That's
yeah. So
cool.
wherever there's that intergenerational space, inviting people into something that they can understand is key. Meaning, we're gonna have a potluck dinner. I'm talking maybe pre-COVID, over here at least.
Or post.
Um, yeah, or post, um, where we're gonna gather around food, and we're going to have a fun evening of family activities of sorts, right?
Yeah.
And that those activities are we're going to come up with a theme around what is important to us in our community, and then we're going to like make a small movement piece around that idea, um, and then we'll share those out to each other or something like that, maybe thinking about them as like a series of workshops that maybe are going to build to some sort of communal sharing. um,
That's
and
interesting.
then like I think I was in something recently that was talking about doing uh the people often jump to the pilot of their idea. So you'll like come up with an idea and then you go right into piloting that idea.
Right.
And this model of thinking was thinking about stepping that back and saying, first probe the idea, do
Right.
little experiments that are contained to see if there are legs around that idea, and then pilot what you learn from those things.
Yeah.
So I think that to answer your question a little bit more succinctly, I would go and do a series of probes that would be interactive, that we would want to explore different ideas around, and then based on what was learned from that, come up with what is the what is the way of working that's going to serve the people who are here.
That's really
Because I
incredible
think
stuff.
there's a danger in going in as kind of the Harold Hill Music Man. I don't know if that's a piece you're familiar with, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
idea of like, I'm going to sell you something, and we're going to have a studio, and you're going to come be part of my studio, and we're going to make work that's centering the art maker instead
Yeah.
of the people. And I'm so interested in centering the people who are making it alongside of us, and building it together,
Yeah.
something like that, but like rural arts. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting
yeah.
work.
There's been a movement recently in the States around like they call them like arts deserts or culture deserts,
Yeah.
where because the city is, the country is so large, and
Yeah.
these metropolitan areas end up with a lot of the resources, and are, looking back at how all of our regional theaters came to be here in the States, and the tours that go all around, and there end up being these large swaths of rural communities that are completely left out of the cultural sector. And that now there's a big movement to bring arts to those sorts of spaces, so that there's a lot there in like wanting to build empathy amongst folks, especially in a screen driven world.